Hello, I'm Caitlin, the Technical Administrator at SAIB Inc., here with the final closeout video for our project Argus, previously titled Cardano.sync. Argus is a .NET indexing framework for Cardano which we proposed for Fund12 under Cardano Open Developers. This category focuses on open source tools that improve the Cardano developer experience. Argus enables .NET developers to build on Cardano using familiar technologies while also expanding the Cardano tooling ecosystem with greater flexibility and choice. Our approach initially focused on strengthening the codebase with early milestones centered on functionality, performance, and stability. Later milestones shifted towards documentation and community engagement. Argus integrates into a .NET or C# project where Argus uses Chrysalis, a building block library that we created to work on .NET in Cardano that receives and serializes Cardano block data. That data is then processed by Argus and stored in a database, providing fast, structured, and queryable access to on-chain information. Milestone 1 focused on establishing a strong foundation by expanding core functionality and improving overall liability. So we expanded Argus by exposing CDDL equivalent on-chain fields, which we can see here in Chrysalis. This is an example of a block. There's a lot of different data types here, such as transactions. And then we can see that Argus can access this. We have general and use case specific reducers. So here we can see an output, the address, and please note that we can easily access all of the transaction bodies within a block using the .NET notation, and it becomes this convenient. And we also added serialization support for commonly used datums such as Sunday swap, liquidity pool data. If we go back, milestone 2 prioritize stability and performance, ensuring new features were properly integrated into existing architecture. We introduced more connection types, rollback for dependency, mass rollback protection, and enhancements to Chrysalis. And here we see Argus transitioned its block data source from Palace.NET to Chrysalis, which initially supported Conway era blocks, but updates during milestone 2 enabled it to deserialize blocks across all eras. So full details are in the testing report for milestone 2. Milestone 3 shifted towards accessibility, focusing on improving documentation and making Argus easier for developers to understand and adopt. And we can access the site at docs.saib.dev. Here is the Argus specific. We have a quick start, configuration examples, and instructions, and the general developer portal as well. We have illustrations. Milestone 4 then shifted and focused on community engagement, culminating in the launch of Argus documentation websites alongside our outreach efforts and public-facing events. So the milestones culminated in 2 free public webinars delivered in partnership with the University of San Carlos Alofel School and their Computer and Information Sciences Council. And we wanted to flash some results of our X engagement campaign and our Facebook webinar campaign as well. The webinars performed strongly with 74 attendees in the first one and 58 for the second, with average ratings of 4.74 and 4.67. Attendees were mostly university students in computer-related fields. The first session covered blockchain fundamentals, Cardano, and our .NET tooling ecosystem, with the second focusing on a technical demo of Argus. The framework also received 6 forks and 8 stars on GitHub and 9.1 thousand downloads on NuGet. So there's more detailed discussion on these in our engagement report for milestone 4. And we'll first go through our demo walkthrough based upon our webinar, edited to be shortened for this video. For this demo, we are starting with a .NET project, scaffolding a full web API. It should have a default endpoint there, and now we can run the project and check that this endpoint is working. and we see the data. So now let's integrate Argus by downloading it from the package manager NuGet. And to connect our application to our database, with Argus we're using PostgreSQL, so we will be downloading the Postgres provider for entity framework as the ORM database library. Once the packets are ready, we can set up the configuration and app settings.json, starting with the database connection and then the node connection. We are using Unix socket and can remove gRPC, followed by the network magic and intersection where to begin in the blockchain. Now program CS is the entry point of our app, and we have replaced this code. And once that's done, we move forward with defining our data. This defines our table, and we have two. Then we can set up DB context, and this will represent our session to the database. We see both our tables are there. Once this is ready, we can create and apply migrations, allowing us to convert the models into real tables in the database. We see them in the migrations folder and can apply the migrations now. And we see that the tables exist. So next is a reducer, the heart of Argus. It implements roll forward and roll backward, and each will have its own logic. Overall, reducers are where you can decide and control what you want to filter out from the blockchain and store in the database. It's where a developer will define the transformation logic for blockchain. Once you have your logic, you can run your project, and we can check that the data is indeed in the database. So this is a balance by address reducer, allowing us to check the balance of an address, and we have a test for that now. So this API and front end has been set up. We saw that the amount matched, and so we will be sending ADA to this eternal address. So we can see that there's been a change in the ADA balance, and just double checking, we see that it is a match again to the address. I hope the demo was clear, and here we'll go back to our challenges. So reaching both the Cardano community and newcomers was a challenge, as the blockchain can feel intimidating for newcomers, and interest in .NET tooling within Cardano is still limited. We address this through community events and introductory university webinars, strengthening our team's technical and delivery experiences. SAIB will continue to actively maintain Argus as an open-source, production-ready framework, welcoming community contributions while promoting adoption. Our long-term goal is to establish a strong .NET foundation for building on Cardano, welcoming developers outside the ecosystem. Thank you very much. I hope this was an enjoyable and interesting video, and have a great day. Goodbye.